You're not asking for inspiration. You're asking for an excuse to keep hiding. And I'm not giving you that. You wanted that exact famous face, that exact borrowed laugh, that myth you replay like a lucky charm every time you feel small. Because if you could just be him, you wouldn't have to deal with you. You wouldn't have to feel the tight chest when the room goes quiet. You wouldn't have to admit you're lonely, even when you're surrounded. You wouldn't have to face the fact that your "I'm fine" is a performance you've been doing so long you forgot it was acting. So, let's stop the act, because it isn't a character you want. It's permission. Permission to finally say out loud, "I'm not okay." Permission to stop being everyone's easy, convenient version of you. Permission to stop living like a guest in your own life, tiptoeing around your own needs like they're some embarrassing mess you don't want anyone to see. And you know what's wild? You keep expecting somebody else to hand you that permission. Like one day the right person will notice you're drowning and say the exact perfect sentence that saves you. Nobody is coming. And deep down, you already know that. That's why you're angry. That's why you keep doom scrolling. That's why you keep chasing noise, chasing distraction, chasing anything that keeps you from sitting still long enough to hear the truth. Because the truth is loud. Look at you. You walk into rooms with that carefully folded posture, that practiced calm, that automatic "I'm good" you hand out like spare change. You think it makes you look strong. You think it makes you look unbothered, but your eyes keep checking for exits. Your mouth tightens when the past comes up. Your throat swallows words before they can expose how tired you really are. You call it maturity. You call it patience. You call it being the bigger person. But you know what it really is. Fear. Fear that if you show the full weight of what you carry, someone will flinch. Fear that if you tell the truth without softening it, you'll lose whatever scraps of connection you've managed to keep. So you do this dance where you blame yourself for everything that hurt you, because it feels safer to believe you caused it than to accept that people can be careless with your heart and still sleep fine at night. You keep replaying those moments, little humiliations, quiet betrayals, things people said with a smile that cut deeper than a shout. And you keep asking that same question like it's a prayer you don't even believe in. What's wrong with me? And that question is poison, not because it has an answer, but because it gives your shame a home. Shame loves a home. Shame loves a neat little room inside you, with a lock on it where it can sit in the dark and whisper, "You deserved it." Every silence, every dismissal, every time someone looked right through you like you didn't matter. And the worst part, you listened long enough that you can't tell the difference between their voice and yours anymore. You say you're over it. You say you moved on. But your body didn't move on, did it? Your shoulders still brace for criticism. Your stomach still drops when you see a name pop up. Your throat still holds words like contraband. Your mind still scrolls through old scenes like it's hunting for evidence. Like if you replay it enough, you'll find the exact second you could have saved yourself. You won't. That moment is gone. They cashed their check and walked away. Some didn't even realize they were taking from you. Some did. And the tragedy isn't just what they did, it's what you kept paying. You paid with your silence. You paid with your patience. You paid with your self-respect. You paid by forgiving things that should have been apologized for. You paid by shrinking yourself because you were addicted to keeping the peace, even when it cost you your dignity. And listen, I'm not saying that to shame you. I'm saying it because if you don't call it what it is, you'll keep doing it. You didn't just endure this, you participated in it, not because you wanted to suffer, not because you're weak, but because you were trained. Trained by loneliness, trained by love that came with conditions, trained by attention that only showed up when you were convenient. So you learned to believe your needs are an inconvenience. You learned to hush your own heart. You learned to behave. You learned to wait. And now your heart has been waiting so long, it doesn't trust you anymore. That's why you feel hollow when you're alone and anxious when you're with people. That's why compliments bounce off you like rain on glass. That's why you can't rest without guilt. You built a cage out of should, later, and it's fine. And you've been calling it a life. But sure, keep calling it strength. People will still praise your independence while you rot quietly inside. Or you can do something uglier, something braver. You can face the real enemy. Not them. Not the person who left. Not the person who mocked you. Not the person who used your kindness like a tool. The enemy is the part of you that agreed you were unworthy the first time you were treated like you didn't matter. You remember more than you admit. You remember the first time someone laughed at something you cared about. And you laughed too, like you weren't bleeding, because you didn't want to be too sensitive. You remember the look on someone's face when you finally spoke up, and the room made it clear you were interrupting what mattered. You remember apologizing for having feelings, and somewhere in all that, you made a vow, quiet, desperate, absolute. I will never need anyone again. You made that vow like a child makes a promise, simple, total, and it became your religion. It shaped everything. It made you build walls and call them boundaries. But those walls were never about protection. They were about hiding. It made you act like you don't care. But you care so much it hurts to breathe sometimes. It made you laugh at yourself before anyone else could. It made you pre-reject yourself so nobody else could get the satisfaction of doing it first. And you tell yourself you're just being realistic. No, you're being ruled. Ruled by fear, by shame, by an old voice in your head that sounds like every person who ever dismissed you leaning in to whisper, don't relax, don't trust, don't hope, don't ask, don't reach. Because if you reach and nobody catches you, you hit the ground again. So you choose the fall you can predict. You pick the loneliness you can manage over the intimacy that might break you. Then you call it peace. You call it independence. You call it being careful. Meanwhile, you're starving. Starving for real connection, real respect, real tenderness that doesn't disappear when you're inconvenient. And because you're starving, you settle for crumbs. You settle for attention that comes with a hook in it. You settle for people who like the version of you that never says no. You settle for environments where your silence gets rewarded. Then you go home and sit with the ache and wonder why you feel used. You feel used because you keep offering yourself like a discount. You keep putting your best parts on a shelf and telling the world, take what you want. Just don't leave. And the world being what it is will take. It will take your time, your energy, your patience, your forgiveness, your empathy, your nights, your mornings, your dreams. And then, when you finally say, enough, it will look at you like you changed, like you became difficult, like you became selfish. That's when you see the truth. Some people don't love you. They love the way you don't demand anything. They love the way you make their life easier. They love the way you absorb discomfort so they don't have to feel it. And you've been volunteering for that role because it made you feel needed. And being needed felt safer than being loved, because being needed is a contract. Do this, get praise, be useful, get attention, stay quiet, keep the peace. Being loved. Being loved asks you to show up as a whole person, and you don't trust anyone with that, not even yourself. So you split yourself. There's the version of you that performs in public, and the version of you that collapses in private. And you think nobody notices. They notice. In the way you flinch at kindness because it feels unfamiliar. In the way you change the subject when someone gets too close. In the way you joke about your own pain like it's entertainment. In the way you disappear for days and call it being busy. And you notice too, every time you say, I'm fine, and it tastes like ash. So let's stop pretending the problem is motivation. Let's stop pretending you just need the right quote, the right playlist, the right aesthetic, the right persona. You don't need another mask. You need a decision. And here's the part you're going to hate. You already know what to do. You know you need to stop begging for love from people who only respect you when you're useful. You know you need to speak with your full voice and let consequences happen. You know you need to stop entertaining connections that drain you. You know you need to stop numbing the second you feel anything. You know you need to build something. Habits, skills, discipline, a routine that doesn't depend on mood. But you don't, because the moment you try, that old voice shows up. Who do you think you are? And you back down. You call it humility. You call it being realistic. It's not humility. It's trauma in a polite suit. And it fits because it matches the version of you that survived. But survival isn't the finish line. Survival is the basement you're supposed to climb out. And yes, climbing hurts. It hurts because your muscles are weak from disuse. It hurts because you've been carrying dead weight for years. Resentment, self-pity, comparison, fantasies about being understood without having to speak, daydreams about revenge. All of it feels like power. But it's just a distraction. You want real power. Real power is boring. It's you keeping one small promise when nobody's watching. It's you doing the right thing while still feeling like the old you. It's you not waiting for readiness, like readiness is a magical mood that shows up on schedule. Readiness is trained. Timing is created. Clarity comes after action, not before. Your mind will argue with that. Your mind is a lawyer. It can defend any habit. It can make avoidance sound like self-care. It can dress fear up in fancy words and call it protecting your peace. But let's be honest, you're not protecting your peace. You're protecting your comfort, and comfort has been killing you slowly. So here's what you do, and it's going to feel too small and too plain, and your ego will hate it. You keep a small promise, not a dramatic, new life promise. Not a big speech at 2 a.m., a small promise you can keep even on a bad day. Because every time you break your word to yourself, you teach yourself you're unreliable. And then you start living like you're unreliable. And then you start accepting unreliable love like it's normal. So you rebuild trust with yourself the only way trust ever gets rebuilt. Evidence, one brick, then another. You wake up when you said you would. You move your body like you're telling it, I'm still here. You eat like you deserve stability. You put the phone down like it's not the boss of you. You stop negotiating with your bad habits like they're roommates. They're not roommates, they're intruders. And you evict them one choice at a time. And while you're at it, you stop calling boundaries cruelty. A boundary is not you being mean. A boundary is you refusing to abandon yourself to keep someone else comfortable. A boundary is you saying, I'm not available for disrespect. A boundary is you leaving rooms where you have to shrink to fit. And yes, some people will react like you became selfish. Let them. If someone only likes you when you're easy to use, then the moment you become harder to use, you become less valuable to them. That's not a tragedy. That's proof. So stop waiting for the apology you deserved. Stop waiting for recognition. Stop waiting for the perfect conversation that gives you closure. You might never get it, and that's brutal. But it's also freedom, because if you stop building your life on the hope that someone else becomes the person you needed, you finally get your power back. Moving forward isn't denying what happened. Moving forward is refusing to let what happened keep writing your daily behavior. So here's the question that decides everything, and I want you to feel it in your chest. What would change in your life if you stopped auditioning for love? If you stopped shrinking? If you stopped calling fear peace? If you stopped saying, I'm fine, when you're not? Because the truth is, you don't need a savior. You need honesty. One honest sentence tonight. One hard decision tomorrow. One small promise kept, one boundary held, and then another. Nobody is coming. Good. That means it's on you, and that means it can finally be yours.